I am pro-union and there does not appear to me much on the horizon which would be likely to change that. However, I am in agreement with a call for a second referendum on the separation of Scotland from the remainder of the UK. The amplification of the division which exists and the economic impact of further uncertainties will be the least of several evils which will need to be told. Realistically, it appears difficult to see Scotland voting to leave. Consequently, I am unable to look at the latest demand as anything other than a cynical ploy which has the intent of adding another manufactured outrage. It will become part of the list of things which are a consequence of democracy but which the SNP and many of its supporters attempt to portray as deliberately injurious to Scotland. The First Minister is a consummate politician and, employing her penchant for the vernacular, her heid disnae button up the back. She knows that an indyref2 campaign could not be won in 2020 unless there was some sort of seismic shift. She conceded that many who voted for the SNP in the general election are not supporters of independence. Perhaps I'm not alone in suspecting that practically every person who would vote for independence is likely to have voted SNP last week. Does it not therefore look very much like the numbers are pretty stable if not dwindling in favour of the cause and/or the SNP itself? So, I would say to the Prime Minister, call the bluff of our First Minister and call a second referendum. Only, please, this time, write it onto the ballot paper that wishes should be held for a generation. If I wake up the day following such a vote and find that we are to separate from the UK, you'd not see me seeking to overturn it. I not only have great faith in the wisdom of the crowd but also a strongly held belief that Scottish people, as a whole, are far from daft. So, I'd be taking the view that the majority of my fellow Scots saw it as the future of the country we all love. That sense of country for me includes not only the landscape and the history played out in it but the people. There would, however, be a deep sadness. Scotland leaving the Union would probably consign the remainder of the UK to eternal single-party governance. I would not wish that on even my oldest enemy. Kenny Wilson, Greenock. The SNP is claiming that its massive gain in Westminster is a mandate from the Scottish people to hold another referendum on independence. This assertion should be examined against the quality of the opposition it had to face. The Labour Party, once the dominant force in Scottish politics, is decimated. The Tories have always lacked credibility, and the Lib Dems are about gone. The election was akin to a top-division football team taking the field against an amateur side. It was easy, there was nowhere else for the vote to. For more on this story, visit the news article link.